Hello, my friends! Welcome back. You're watching TTBurger Game Reviews here on YouTube. I'm your host, Tony. And you're probably wondering, what's with the black and white filter on the screen there? Well, for today's review, we're going to be going back to the 1960s to an underwater desolate city called Rapture. And since we're going to the 1960s, I thought I'd just keep the theme here by putting this black and white filter on the screen. And today, like I said, we have a multi-part review here where we're going to start our journey in the city of Rapture. Once a beautiful city, now it's all derelict and ruined, and you'll find out why. You probably are wondering if you don't know, what franchise am I talking about here? Those of you who do know, then you know what it is. But those of you who don't, we're talking about the BioShock franchise. A first-person shooter franchise, first released on the 360, then ported to the PS3, and the games have been on multi-platform since then. For the first part 1 of 3, we're going to talk about BioShock. Part 2, BioShock 2. And then we're going to wrap things up by going to the beautiful floating city called Columbia in BioShock Infinite. We got a lot to talk about here with these 3 parts here, and we're going to start things off with the original BioShock. First released in 2007 for the Xbox 360 and PC, then ported to the PlayStation 3 a year later in 2008. We got a lot to talk about here, so let's get started with BioShock. When BioShock made its debut on the PlayStation 3 in 2008, it did more than just fill a slot in the console's library. It set a new benchmark for what a first-person shooter could be. Developed by Irrational Games, this title had already received widespread critical acclaim, and its arrival on the PlayStation 3 was met with a high degree of anticipation. It transcended the typical boundaries of its genre, offering not just an engaging combat system, but a profound atmospheric and to be philosophical experience. The game's success cemented its legacy as one of the most influential and unforgettable titles of its generation, celebrated for its unique Art Deco setting, compelling narrative, and masterful blend of various gameplay mechanics. It remains a testament to the power of immersive storytelling and world building, a game that proved a first-person perspective could be used for far more than just shooting. Its brilliant combination of classic shooter action with powerful genetically enhanced abilities, all wrapped in a mature and thought-provoking story, established a new standard for artistic and narrative achievement in video games. The story of BioShock is an intricate tapestry of tragedy and ambition. It begins in 1960, placing you in the role of Jack, a man who miraculously survives a devastating plane crash over the cold, dark expanse of the Atlantic Ocean. Adrift in the wreckage, he discovers a solitary lighthouse, an ominous and beautiful structure that serves as a gateway to a mysterious world. Descending in the bathysphere, Jack is transported to the legendary underwater city of Rapture. This city, a monumental achievement of engineering, was built in secret by the idealistic and tyrannical industrialist Andrew Ryan. Rapture was intended to be a utopian society, a haven for the world's greatest minds and artists, free from what Ryan saw as the oppressive constraints of government, the petty moralities of religion, and all forms of societal control. Its foundational principle was objectivism, a philosophy where individualism and total lack of regulation were meant to foster unprecedented human innovation and achievement. The city's motto, "No gods or kings, only man," perfectly captured Ryan's vision of an unburdened meritocracy. However, Ryan's dream quickly soared. Unchecked ambition, the pursuit of genetic perfection, and the crippling influence of absolute power led to the city's total collapse. The ideals of freedom quickly devolved into a brutal struggle for survival. As the city's inhabitants, driven mad by their addiction to a genetic material called Adam, they turned on each other. The discovery of Adam derived from a new species of sea slug, allowed for the creation of plasmids, genetic modifications that granted superhuman powers, like shooting lightning or fire from your hands. The city's rapid decline culminated into a violent civil war on New Year's Eve, an event that turned this once glorious city into a terrifying dystopia. As Jack, you are guided through Rapture's decaying corridors and flooded halls by a mysterious figure named Atlas. His desperate Irish accent voice is a constant presence on your radio, acting as your guide and moral compass in a world gone mad. He is your only contact in a city filled with deranged enemies, and his instructions are your lifeline. Along the way, you're relentlessly hunted by the city's horribly mutated inhabitants, called the Splicers, who have been driven insane by their addiction to Adam. They are a tragic sight, often seen muttering to themselves and reliving their past lives, a poignant testament to the city's downfall. The central moral dilemma of the game revolves around the fate of the Little Sisters, young girls who have been genetically altered to collect Adam, and their massive armored protectors, the Big Daddies. These hulking figures are a constant source of both fear and and fascination. The narrative masterfully weaves together the theme of objectivism, free will, and the crippling nature of absolute power, culminating in one of the most shocking and memorable plot twists in video game history. The story's strength lies in its ability to tell a deep character-driven story through environmental storytelling, forcing the player to piece together the tragic history of Rapture themselves through audio diaries left behind by the citizens. BioShock's gameplay is defined by its innovative and dynamic plasmid and pistol combat system, which encourages creativity, strategic thinking, and experimentation. The game is at its core a first-person shooter, but it masterfully integrates deep role-playing and survival horror elements, making it far more than a simple run-and-gun experience. The combat is often a ballad of violence, where your wits and resourcefulness are just as important as your aim. You can wield a variety of firearms found throughout Rapture, including a close-range shotgun, a rapid-fire machine gun, a devastating chemical thrower, and a powerful crossbow. Each weapon feels distinct and serves as a specific purpose, preventing any single one from feeling obsolete. These weapons can also be upgraded at the power to the people stations to improve their damage, clip size, or firing speed. However, your most unique and powerful tools are the Plasmids. These are genetic modifications that are injected into your body, granting you abilities like shooting bolts of electricity, like the Electro Bolt, telekinesis, or igniting enemies with fire with the Incinerate. The true genius of the combat system lies in the combination of these two systems. You might stun an enemy with an Electro Bolt Plasmid, then switch to the shotgun to shatter them, or set a trap with Incinerate, and lure a splicer into the flames. This freedom in combat makes you are constantly encouraged to find a new and creative way to dispatch the foes. It is important to note that the original BioShock is a strictly single-player experience. It focuses all of its energy and design on creating a deep, immersive narrative and the world that the player explores alone. There is no multiplayer mode, which allows the developers to craft a tightly focused story without having to balance the game for online competitive play. Hacking is another crucial mechanic that adds a layer of strategy. By completing a pipe puzzle minigame, you can hack security systems, vending machines, and enemy turns to turn them to your advantage. This allows you to bypass defenses, get discounts on items, or set up ambushes where a hacked turret will attack your enemies instead of you. While the minigame itself can become repetitive, the strategic advantages it provides are often well worth the effort. Adam collected from the Little Sisters used at the Gatherer's Garden stations to buy new plasmid upgrades and tonics to provide passive boosts to your abilities, such as increased health or hacking speed, further customizing your playstyle. These tonics, which are equipped like skills, allow you to tailor your character to your preferred approach. Whether you favor stealth, brute force, or hacking, the game's difficulty is balanced by a sense of vulnerability and limited resources found in Rapture, and a survival horror tension forcing you to carefully manage your health, ammo, and Adam. The combination of these systems ensures that no two playthroughs are exactly alike. Visually, BioShock is a masterpiece of art direction. Rapture is a breathtakingly beautiful and decayed city brought to life by the unmistakable Art Deco aesthetic of the 1940s and 50s. The architecture is grand and ornate, with gilded halls, intricate stained glass, and colossal statues, all slowly crumbling and flooded by the crushing pressure of the deep sea. The city's visual design perfectly reflects its fallen utopia, a place of immense beauty now overgrown with decay and chaos. Every location, from the plush medical pavilion to the opulent Fort Frolic, tells a story through its broken windows, flooded floors, and hastily scrawled graffiti. The meticulous attention to detail in every piece of furniture, every poster, and every shared window contributes to a world that feels incredibly real and lived in. The lighting is superb, with shafts of light piercing through underwater windows, illuminating dust motes, and revealing the city's faded glory. The game masterfully uses light and shadow to create a sense of both awe and terror, from the bright, elegant chandeliers in a grand ballroom to the flickering low light of a flooded hallway where a splicer might be lurking. The PlayStation 3 port maintained this stunning visual fidelity, bringing the haunting atmosphere to life with impressive detail and a smooth frame rate. The character models for the splicers and Big Daddies are also iconic, with the splicers' twisted form and the Big Daddies imposing futuristic dive suits are instantly recognizable. The visual design is truly unforgettable, creating a world that is as fascinating to explore as it is terrifying. The sound design is arguably the game's greatest asset and a masterclass in atmospheric horror. The soundtrack is a meticulously curated collection of 1940s jazz, swing, and classical music, which plays from old-timey radios scattered throughout the city. This jaunty upbeat music creates a powerful and chilling dissonance when contrasted with desperate screams and groans of the splicers, the haunting whispers and chilling cries of the Little Sisters, and the heavy metallic footsteps of the Big Daddies echoing down a flooded hallway. The music is not just background noise, it is a fundamental part of the world's atmosphere, constantly reminding you of Rapture's glamorous past and its horrific present. The voice acting is top tier, with performances that are both dramatic and nuanced. The gravely commanding tone of Andrew Ryan's speeches, which are broadcast on speakers throughout the city, perfectly embodies his megalomaniacal vision. Similarly, the desperate pleas of Atlas, your guide, are full of urgency and pathos. The audio diaries in particular are a brilliant narrative device. They paint a vivid and tragic picture of Rapture's downfall, brought to life by outstanding vocal performances that make the world feel incredibly real and lived in. The sound of water rushing through cracks, the creak of the city's structure under pressure, and the distant, unsettling sounds of combat, all combine to create a deeply immersive and unsettling audio landscape. Every footstep, every distant splice or cry, and every subtle environmental noise works together to keep you constantly on edge. And that's what I gotta say about BioShock. Before we can give this game a score, we need to go to our TTBurger positives and negatives. For the TTBurger positives, unforgettable world building. Rapture is a stunningly original and deeply immersive world with a unique Art Deco aesthetic and a powerful sense of history. The city's decay tells a story in itself, and every corner feels like it has a tragic past. The world building is so detailed and consistent that it becomes a character in its own right. Masterful storytelling. The narrative is rich, with philosophical depth, compelling characters, and a legendary plot that makes the experience unforgettable. The use of audio diaries and environmental storytelling is a brilliant way to build the world and its tragic history without relying on lengthy cutscenes, allowing the player to discover the lore at their own pace. Innovative and creative gameplay. The combination of plasmids and conventional weapons allows for an unparalleled level of strategic and creative combat. The freedom to combine powers and weapons makes every encounter a puzzle to be solved, ensuring that the gameplay remains fresh and engaging throughout the entire experience. Impeccable atmosphere. The blend of visual design, period music, and chilling sound effects creates a deeply immersive and unsettling atmosphere that stays with you long after you finish the game. The contrast between the beautiful setting and the grotesque enemies is a core part of its appeal and is a masterclass in psychological horror. For the TTBurger negatives, repetitive hacking minigame. The pipe puzzle hacking mechanic, while functional, can become tedious and repetitive over the course of the game. It's a simple minigame that's fun at first, but its constant presence can break the flow of the game's otherwise intense atmosphere. It can feel more like a chore than a challenge. Slightly simplistic enemy AI. The splicers, while menacing, often switch to predictable charge attacks, which can make combat feel less challenging later in the game. Their lack of complex tactics means that combat can sometimes feel less dynamic and more about crowd control, especially once you unlock powerful plasmids. Binary moral choice system. The central moral choice regarding the little sisters is effective for the story, but its binary nature, harvest or rescue, lacks some complexity that the rest of the game's theme suggests. The impact of choice feels a little too black and white in the game that otherwise thrives in shades of gray. In conclusion, BioShock is a truly essential title for any video game enthusiast and a landmark achievement in the world of interactive entertainment. Its journey into the decaying Art Deco city of Rapture is a one-of-a-kind experience, offering a narrative that is as engaging as thought-provoking and a gameplay system that is both deep and incredibly fun. While it has a few minor flaws, they're easily overshadowed by the sheer brilliance of its world-building atmosphere and storytelling. It's a game that doesn't just ask you to shoot, it asks you to think, to question, and to be deeply immersed in its haunting, beautiful, and tragic world. The PlayStation 3 version in particular delivered this iconic experience with a strong technical performance, allowing a new generation of players to descend into the breathtaking dystopia of Rapture. BioShock is more than a game, it's an artistic statement and a classic that every gamer should experience. So what score do I give BioShock on the PlayStation 3? BioShock for the PlayStation 3 won't be getting a perfect score because of the small complaints I have with it. I'm going to be taking off a half a point here because of those small problems, but I'm still going to give the score a 9.5 out of 10. It's an amazing game, definitely worth checking out. It's not that expensive to get these days. If you get in the slipcase here, then it's definitely a collector item for sure. That's pretty much what I gotta say about BioShock. And that wraps up part 1 here of my BioShock franchise review. Stay tuned for the next part where we are going to be a prototype Big Daddy in BioShock 2. How does this game fare? We got a sequel here with a totally different story set in the Rapture universe. So how does it fare? Find out next, which all I can say is Tony, peace and out, have a great day, see you all in BioShock 2. Take care, ladies and gentlemen.